bottom right of Ohana, we have the Fnatic Terran player. Strong TDT player he is.
Fnatic alive!
Alive. Yeah, English Street Fighter voice doesn't grant him the lady call. In Korean, he actually gets the RC. To the top left starts his opponent. Started off really well. Will win against Boom Boom. Lost to Hyando. This is the third game for him. It's the Slayer's turn. Yes.
Slayer's MMA.
Yep. And MMA right now going to be looking to get a new team. Project's got a little bit longer on the Slayers. Both players on this map I feel will take gases. We have seen Wonder Axis spans here, but the rush distance by ground and also by air is pretty small, so it's a lot safer to do a gas build where you try to maybe, for example, Banshee span. But actually, neither of them have taken gas.
Surprised me, especially since I was waiting for Alive to take gas. He loves to be a bit more aggressive in TVT, but this time he decides to play a longer macro game. He also started with the gas first early on Abyssal City when he faced the Startail Terran player. This is definitely the matchup that they prepared for a lot. They have two opposing Terran players in their group and two opposing Zergs, only one Protoss that they have to prepare for. The Scout is completely shut down. MMA builds the second supply depot, and there's no chance for Alive to know if there's gas or not.
And back at home, the same is true for Alive, denying MMA's vision of the gas. So both players completely in the dark about what builds their opponents are choosing. But as it's Wonder Axis span versus Wonder Axis span, neither player will have an advantage builder-wise over the other one to do any damage. It's going to be a more passive game.
Yeah. It's definitely the case. MMA now with the command center on the low ground. The same is true for Alive. Both of them taking this small risk not placing the command center on the high ground, which you sometimes see, but then you of course lose the time that you need to live, fly over, and then land it again. Double gas follow-up for MMA, whereas Alive starts to play a little bit more safe with his barracks that he has.
Yeah, is he going to go into 3? No. He may, but so far he has not added the third. We have seen players go into 2 barracks into a fast third command center very rarely, but usually on a much bigger map, and there's the gases. He knows that on a map of this size, taking a fast third command center is not going to be realistic. He's going to die to a push as soon as MMA finds out what he's doing.
And as mentioned before, the next few games that we have, this and the next 3 sets, they are the games that really decide a lot in this group. So far, we just had all of these players playing 2 matches. JYP and Hack both just played their 3rd match, and it all comes down to if you win now or not. Because this kind of sets the pace and puts you into a position where you have to hope for a 3-way tie, or if you can actually just from your own strength win a spot for Kodes. The best position so far has Hyun, who has 2 wins. If he's able to win against Boom Boom later on, then he will be on 3-0, which is not a guarantee that he ends up in Kodes, but it's a really good position. And we said earlier already when he was able to win against MMA that both of us actually assume that Hyun is going to take a spot because of his standing in the group as it is right now. But Alive and MMA, they are in a bit of a different situation. Even if MMA loses here, he will still have a chance of qualifying. If Alive loses, on the other hand, it is impossible for him to get into Kodes.
Now, everything you said is true. I just want to talk about the variation we have in the builds right now, which is that Alive, we talked about how he got the 2nd barracks, but he's actually researching Stim super quick, before 6 minutes even. It's already about a 5th of the way done. And MMA is going for Reactor Hellions, and is adding a starport here. He may go into a mech composition, as he has not started his 2nd barracks, nor is he producing Marines right now. So it's looking like he's going to be going to mech, whereas Alive with his fast stim is going to have some abilities to be aggressive. How he's going to use it exactly is not yet known. It all comes down to control, because stim Marines can beat Hellions, but Hellions can also beat Marines depending on how they engage and how many Hellions there are together when the Marines fight them, and how good the clump of Marines is.
Yeah. In economy, they are both on even terms, but yes, the stim much faster for Alive here. Now it's the starport. MMA is trying to get this 3rd base up, whereas +1 attack is also now started for Alive. So he really uses the gas that he has, and instead of going straight for what MMA currently does, he goes for a fast attack. He decides to go for these upgrades for his Marines. Yeah. He wants to be a little bit more aggressive here, I feel. Let's see how that's going to work out.
MMA is doing the mech thing.
Yeah.
The mech thing is basically my way of saying when you get the third base up turtle and you get a big, heavy mech composition to start bullying your opponent with, so you can take a fourth.
The sheep build.
Yeah, basically. You need 6 gases.
Meg.
I knew where that was going. Double armories coming out for MMA now.
It's the sheep build. Come on.
Come on, man. That joke was bad, dude. What is this? I was like...
That's Mag.
His starport was on a tech lab, and then he moved it to make another tech lab. For some reason, my mind was broken at the moment, and I was like, well, he's already got the tech lab on the starport. Why make another one? But,
well, the double armory is now completed, so you can start with his upgrades. He has 2 additional factories now. So you can really see this difference in build, and Alive is, of course, in the know. He knows exactly what's going on here. But the question is going to be how he's going to approach this. He already starts to drop with a medivac on the left side, but we have a few supply depots at the corner, so he will see, MMA that is, he will see what's coming. How well is he going to defend against this? He's a little bit out of position with most of his Hellions.
Yeah, his Hellions are totally out of position here. This is what we were talking about earlier, the fast stim. He's got a lot of Marines, and if the Hellions are not there, or if they try to break up the ramp against this many Marines, he's going to really be in trouble. He's losing so many SCVs already. Now he needs to start targeting because he can't chase these units down. What's he going to go for? He's going to get some of these depots, it looks like.
Yeah, he's trying to supply block him for a while. If he actually is able to break one of those armories down, that would be brilliant, but no, not with... Yeah, he actually drops even a missile turret here.
Yeah, auto turret gets dropped.
Yeah,
the Viking actually will catch this.
Ah, yeah, that's unfortunate for Alive. That's really, really unfortunate.
But Alive has a secondary force coming up towards the natural now. And I don't think he's going to try to break up the ramp, not against this many Hellions and the bunker. But what this is really designed to do is to make sure that that third base for MMA cannot be landed.
+1/+1 is on its way. Let's have a quick look at the economy. Alive is actually a little bit ahead, and he's the one who wants to be more aggressive. If you go for Mag, you can easily hold this. The one thing that we don't have for MMA just yet are siege tanks. He's now started the siege tank production. Siege mode isn't ready though, so Alive still has a bit of a window here where he only faces his opponent's Blue Flame Hellions, and with a lot of Marauders, he could actually easily break through here. He has a lot of Marines, though, only 2 tanks. Will he be able to break this? He scans ahead and sees what's going on. Spots if there's a third base, there's not, but he uses the back door.
Yeah, he's coming in. He's got his tank sieged up. Siege mode not done for MMA yet. There is 1 point defense drone available, but he's only got 2 Marauders, as you said earlier.
Oh, snipes a siege tank here. Really well done.
He's trying to bait the Hellions back in. The bunker will fall, as will that SCV. Oh, salvage, so clutch.
Yeah, he salvaged it, but yeah, denies a bit of mining here. And now the siege mode is nearly done for MMA, and as soon as that happens, he will have to back off here.
I'm surprised he didn't run in with his Marauders only to try to pick off those siege tanks. But now the siege mode is done. He's trying to get into a position where he can pick off some of those Hellions. The Hellions are going to take some shots for sure.
MMA is under a lot of pressure now. He's really, really under pressure. He's trying to come down to that. Oh my god, the Raven! That was so close. He drops those 2 auto turrets, and now MMA is trying to break the contain. He's able to do it. He nearly lost this Raven though. Supply is still even for both of these players. Alive lost a lot more with those engagements.
Yeah, Alive does have his own 3rd command center up. MMA has been producing triple SCVs for quite some time, but Alive took out quite a few SCVs with his attacks, and his SCV count is 65 to 52 right now. MMA starts a 4th command center in his main base, but still has not moved up to take his 3rd because he knows with how many units Alive has on the map, it's not going to be something easily done. With the mech, you've got to have a big, strong composition that's always together. You can't have fragmented groups of units trying to defend bases.
MMA tries to take the base to the left side of the map. No, actually, that's the scouting factory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a scouting barracks, but similar when you go back.
Yeah.
So this is going to clean up everything Alive has on the map.
Alive needs to be... Well, he needs to protect this 3rd base. He just transferred all of his SCVs over. Not all of them, but a lot. So
all the ones he needs.
If there are a couple of Blue Flame Hellions headed this way, Flame being halfway done now, then this is of course going to be a slaughter. Those Marines already don't stand a chance against this many Hellions, and if you just look at the unit counting station to the top left, you can see that we have 15 Hellions right now. 6 tanks, takes a huge lead here. But the drop play, is that something that Alive can use? MMA is prepared for it, yeah.
He's even got the barracks to the far left side as well. Goes and checks for a base over here. Very nicely done. If there is one, he'll just unload both medevacs and go for the kill, but there's none. And MMA has this position now with his third base up where he's got those mech units together where I don't think Alive has enough to pressure with. Uh-oh, this one Hellion! Oh, those SCVs were asking to die. Their wish was not granted. Many of them in the red though.
Yeah, MMA killed 6 in total. Alive earlier was able to take down 18 SCVs.
Well, look at the upgrades. 2-2 is coming out faster for MMA than it is for Alive. Well, that is especially true for the armor upgrade coming out, but usually when you go for a biocentric force, you want to have your upgrades way ahead of the mech player, not even. This is a nice siege up spot here for Alive, but he can't quite see those tanks. His vision doesn't reach. But if MMA moves into that, he's going to wish he had.
It's a little bit fascinating how close they are in supply throughout the entire game. There we go. Moving in now. High ground vision granted by the Vikings, and the siege tanks are down. MMA now with those first sensor turrets that he wants to make sure that drop play is not going to be an issue later on. He has such a huge amount of Hellions. He's at 19, still producing, but still down in SCV. So the economy for Alive is better.
Notice that Alive can have small groups of units around the map, whereas MMA has to keep all of his army together. But so far, MMA has done a great job of finding and picking off the small groups of Alive units. Still no Hellion harass, at least not heavy harass at the third base. And this army is too small to actually fight against MMA. Yeah. He's going to lose everything.
That's what you would expect, right? A few Hellions just trying to surpass those units that are trying to defend and then take down the economy. If you don't pay attention for just a second, then everything's going to die. But MMA is not trying to abuse that just yet. He's moving into position with his mech army, but at the same time, Alive is heading for his third, and there's not a lot that he has to defend. He's going to lose this third. The question is, will Alive be able to defend his own natural?
Yeah, he's going to try to. He doesn't really have very many siege tanks back at home. He's got a small bioforce, but the army of MMA is much better than his here.
Well, these Marauders were having death wish here, trying to head straight into 5 siege up tanks. That's not going to work. The rest of Alive's army is also in a tough spot to the top right. Yes, they were able to take down the command center. Well, not just yet, but I think it's going to burn down.
Yeah, it looks like it will, but MMA in a great siege up position here. He's got total control over Alive with the siege tanks at the bottom of the ramp, even the point dimensional being very annoying.
Alive, on the other hand, is still mining from his third without a problem at all. He takes the supply lead here. And now this Viking is not able to help against these dropships. The siege tanks are dying immediately. This looks really bad for MMA. He's now losing his economy, he's losing his production, and he cannot get up this ramp.
All he needs to do with those Hellions, I feel, rather than spending the time letting 8 Hellions shoot their depot, is to just run in and kill SCVs, but now it's too late.
There's nothing at the third. Well, not a lot, so MMA could really target it down. Alive loses the natural, but that's all that he's losing. 30 supply ahead, siege tanks on the high ground. And he is still... Is he still attacking? I think he has the 2 medivacs, but he lost everything to the top left.
Everything is cleaned up. He's got 2 Marines at the 4th base of MMA, but I think that MMA is definitely in the better position here, and these SCVs are taking a risk.
Uh-oh.
And he's going to get away with it, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of them do get taken out at the last second, but I feel like MMA's composition is just going to be too much for Alive in the end here.
Alive is trying to drop again, I feel. Yeah, he has a huge drop headed to the top right. That was on screen for a second.
But there's so many siege tanks back here. The thing is, if he drops on top of the siege tanks, there's 2 groups of them. So ordinarily, when you drop on top of siege tanks, you're in a good spot. But with 2 groups, he'll be able to deal with that.
And now we have the third base of Alive lifting off. He tries to get a planetary, but yeah, MMA, if he's on top of these movements with the command centers, then he will take a huge lead in the game, or just expand the lead that he already has. The mining for Alive is going to be really bad. He's trapped in his main base with most of his army. These drops are not doing too much, but the planetary will be ready.
He needs to start mining at that planetary, though. He's got a ton of SCVs just sitting next to it that he dropped off in the medevacs. He's just not mining at all. I mean, he's got 1 mineral patch his main's mining from, but all these SCVs are just sitting idly.
Yeah, they're not doing anything at all.
This is really bad.
And he's running into the sieged up tanks with a weird pathing here, taking a lot of hits. The siege tanks for MMA do a lot. And Alive is dropping in supply. He's at 100 right now. He's still not mining. These SCVs are not doing anything.
And MMA has the next wave of siege tanks here. The drops are loaded. He doesn't have his Vikings nearby, but he's got a Hellion, which will likely spot them. He's going to just try to go for a flank with these drops, I think.
He's not mining anything. He has all the SCVs. They're idle. Now, finally, he sends them over. He lost like 2 minutes.
He's dropping them off, but there's so many Hellions to greet him, plus the Vikings now, the tanks will siege, and this is going to be the end of Alive here, it looks like. Looks like he's going to take an 0-3 deficit in this group. Going to be basically impossible to recover from.
Yeah, he's losing medivacs now. Those Vikings shut down everything. Another medivac dies. One by one, they're gonna bite the dust. There are no Marines that could actually save them. So this looks like it's gonna be over very soon. He's losing more and more supply. His mining
totally
is
cornered.
not good. We have to the left side a third base for MMA. He's trying to corner him exactly.
He's trapped on both sides of siege tanks. The Mirage is going to blow up here, and that is going to be the end of Alive's chances.
He was stimming way too much, and he couldn't compensate for it with the medivacs. They were all gone. The army supply for Alive is now at 37 against 98.
The worker supply is the only thing Alive has going for him, and he wasn't mining for so long.
And now
he's able to capitalize.
He's also oversaturated at this one mining base that he has, so the worker count doesn't really help him.
Exactly, and MMA could actually just walk up there and start sieging up that base. Looks like he wants to take out the final army to end this instead. The last medivacs are dying, even drops an auto turret here.
Yeah, kills the medivac. Alive now at 73 supply. Most of this is actually worker supply, SCVs. The army is dying. Siege tanks now only one left against 17.
MMA has his fourth dose location, taking his remining from his natural. And this is going to be all she wrote. He's not even able to really produce every unit he's making is going to start to die. Another counterattack over here by Alive. He's trying to make something work here. He knows this is basically his last chance in the group. He can't afford to lose this game.
Yeah, he definitely can't. If he's down 0-3, then there's no chance for him to advance to Codes. This is something that he's, of course, realizing. That's why he's in this game, trying to fight it out. But there's the GG. As the game ends, Alive is in Code A out of Codes. And MMA, he still has a shot. He's at 2-1 right now.
Well,
yeah, sad for Alive here. Not a single map win so far.
Yeah, you know, really struggling to deal with the multitasking, and I feel both the games he lost, the last two of them especially, just not quite able to keep up. And the next map we are going to have is going to be Boom Boom against Hyun. A ZVZ, the only ZVZ of the night, as there are only two Zergs. Unless we have a tiebreaker, which is possible.
It's a really important match for both of them, of course. All of these matches are, that's true, but on the other hand, if Hyun wins here and has a 3-0 lead in the group, he has not a guaranteed Codes spot, but he is in the best position ever. Also, what works a little bit in his favor is that he has to play Alive later, and he plays really well against Terran, and I'm not quite sure how motivated Alive is going to be in this next game.
It's very true.
That's, of course, only us speculating a little bit, but that's stuff that you have to think about.
I mean, it's a good point.
If you lost 3 games in a row and you know that you don't really have a chance to advance anymore, then you're really demotivated and you are not willing to put that much effort in it any longer.
I mean, you're not allowed to just lose on purpose. I don't want to drop any Naniwa names, but I mean, there's a difference between that and what happens next year, because there's some pride on the line, but you do actually have to play those matches out. And that's what's so scary about the Up&Down groups is you end up with these sandbag players that are actually just, they're out, they have nothing to lose, nothing to gain in their matches, and that's a scary opponent to face because they may all in you, they may not play seriously, and if you're in a situation where you hope that one player beats another player and he's playing against a sandbag player, you're like, well, I mean, is he going to lose against someone who can't even get out of the group anyways? That's so frustrating, and that's why everybody wants to win that third round match in Code A. Everyone wants to get straight in Codes because nobody wants to be put into this arena. This is like sudden death. You either win or you die. You go into Codes, you go back down to Code A, where you might be out of the GSL if you lose that first round.
Yeah, that happened to Boom Boom already once, and that's what he wants to prevent. The game is loading, ladies and gentlemen. We have Daybreak for Boom Boom against Hyun. This game is going to determine the fate of both players to a certain extent. Hyun might be a 3-0, he might be on 2-1, tied with MNA. Boom Boom and Hack will be a 4-player tie already. Let's find out who's going to win this, who's going to take this important win in the Up&Downs. Is it going to be Hyun? Is it going to be Boom Boom? It's a ZVZ, it's a best of 1 Daybreak with the Up&Downs, brought to you guys by Cullen Wolf.